Yes guys, welcome back to Blades Focus. I'm Brad and welcome to another video on the channel. For this week's midweek video, as it's a transfer window, I'm going to go through the top 25 transfers and see who were flop and who was top. I'm going through the top 25 most expensive transfers according to transfer market in euros. And my aim is to be quite cutthroat with these, either go flop or top, no in between. The sort of stuff that I'm taking into account is a transfer fee, obviously if we made a profit or a loss on them. And obviously taking into account performances as well. If they're still at the club, I'm doing it on the performance so far, not what they could achieve. As always, if you enjoy sort of Blade content and want to see more, subscribe to this channel, leave this video a like. And feel free in the comments to let me know if there's any ideas or topics you want me to cover. The 25th most expensive transfer on this list is Claude Davies from Preston for €3.5 million. There is a few players on this list such as Claude Davies who I didn't watch at all, so I can't really form an opinion of my own. And for this one I'd never seen in play, so I can't really say if it was a flop or top, but I've gone off the comments on forums. And yeah, judging on these comments you can see now, they aren't great. According to Transfer Market, we made €1 million profit on him when we sold him to Derby, even though he was bad. But just taking all the comments into hand, I just can't put him as a top, so he's going flop. In 24th is Ched Evans, who is signed from Man City for €3.5 million as well. Of course there is all the controversy off the field with Ched Evans. I'm not going to go into that because I don't know all the details and the facts. But I'm judging these players and basing these opinions based on the pitch, and he's a top. In 2011, 2012 was a brilliant player, scoring 29 goals in the league. And I've got to say that season he was absolutely on fire. I'm not going to get myself involved with the off the pitch top. On the pitch purely, he was brilliant. In 23rd is Harrison Burrows, who signed in the summer of 2024 for €3.55 million from Peterborough. Obviously on this list there's still a few players that are currently at the Blades. So as their spell at the club hasn't finished, it's hard to judge whether there was a flop or top, but for now I'm going to go top. Obviously so far this season he has been quite poor, but you can't discard last season and the market value. And that's the main reason I've gone for top over flop, because of the performances last season and the market value increase. For the players still currently at the club, I'm trying to look at a profit value as well as the performances. And if we were to sell Harrison Burrows right now, I think we'd make a profit on him. Obviously so far this season he hasn't got going properly, but last season he was incredible. In 22nd, another player I didn't get the chance to watch, Matthew Kilgallen, who joined us in 2007 for €3.8 million. Once again I'm basing this opinion on forums and fans' views, and I think he's a top overall. He played 124 times for the Blades in all competition. I think he was a fan favourite. Like I mentioned, I'm basing all this stuff on fans and forums, so if I've got this wrong, let me know. We made a slight loss on him when we sold him to Sunderland a few years later, but obviously you've got to factor in the performances he had. I don't think he fully fulfilled his potential at Bramall Lane, but he did enough to warrant a top. In 21st is Max Lowe from Derby for €3.85 million in the summer of 2020. Max Lowe was part of that double deal with Derby for Jayden Bogle in that summer of 2020. Obviously we'll get onto Jayden Bogle in a minute, but for Max Lowe it's a flop. I don't think he ever played to his full capabilities at Bramall Lane. He was quite poor, to be honest. And of course that's just when he played, because he was injured quite a lot. He got injured nearly every game. We didn't make any money back on him either, because he went on a free to Sheffield Wednesday in 2024. So for me it's a no-brainer to put him in the flop category. In 20th is the aforementioned Jayden Bogle from Derby for €3.85 million in 2020. And I've got to say, in his time with the Blades he was definitely up there as one of our favourite players. So for that reason, because of the performances and the profit that we made on him, I'm going top. Of course he had some brilliant seasons from right wing back, scoring and assisting, getting quite a few goal involvements. And of course when he joined Leeds in the summer of 2024 we made just over a €2 million profit. We could have made more on him because of the contract situation, we'd still take a profit. So I think putting them factors together at a top is justified. In 19th we've got Ben Osborne, who joined from Nottingham Forest in the summer of 2019 for €3.9 million. He's a hard player to judge really, because he was a squad player the most of the time that he was at the Blades. And if there was a middle category, definitely going there, but I'm going to put him in top. Like I mentioned, most of the time he was at the Blades, he was a squad player, never a regular starter, but he was solid. I think putting him in the flop category would have been very harsh, so he's going in top. He was a solid character, he's alright, he's not being a starter, he did his job when he needed to. I suppose the only downside, we did lose him on a free transfer to Derby in 2024, but I think for the 5 years of service it's not too bad of a loss. In 18th, arguably one of the biggest tops on this list is John Egan. We signed John Egan from Brentford in the summer of 2018 for €4.5 million, and my god, what a signing. We made a couple of key signings in the 2018 summer transfer window before the 18-19 season, including John Egan, and I've got to say him signing in the defence was like the final cog for that team to work. The role he played in that three at the back system was so integral, obviously that defending centre back. It was mainly Egan's job to make sure that defence was so solid when one of the centre backs went marauding up, and my god, what a brilliant play for the Blades he was. He spent 6 years at the Blades, 2 promotions to the Premier League and a couple of goals. So overall I think we definitely got us money's worth. From one centre back to the next, now in 17th we've got Anel Ahmedhodzic, who joined the Blades for €4.5 million from Malmo. He joined in the summer of 2022 under Paul Heckingbottom and hit the ground running straight away. Then first few months of Anel before he got his injury or illness, I'm not sure which one it was, he was absolutely fantastic. I think in the first couple of months of the season he had something like 4 or 5 goals already, which was ridiculous. He spent 3 years at the Blades, and although he was poor in the Premier League, he was brilliant in the Championship, so for me it's an easy top. And to top it all off, we had a €2.4 million profit on him when he went to Feyenoord in the summer. In 16th we've got our first flop in a few players, which is Bene Traore from Hacken for €4.6 million. He joined the Blades before the Premier League season of 23-24, that disastrous transfer window, and you could tell almost instantly he wasn't going to make it. He wasn't physical enough for this league, and it wasn't even like there was any glimmer of hope that he could become something at Bramall Lane. He was just quite poor. He went on loan to Nantes in that January transfer window before going to Basel on a permanent in the summer. We made a slight loss on him when he went to Basel, so even more reason for a flop. He's been fantastic at Basel since he joined them, so good luck to him. There's nothing personal. Arsenal. It didn't quite work out for him at Bramall Lane for one reason or another. In 15th is James Beattie, who joined the Blades from Everton in 2007 for €5 million. Once again, another player I didn't get to watch, but based on the fan forums and the stats, I'm going to go his top. As far as I'm aware, he was a fan favourite at the Lane. He had a decent scoring rate, scoring 34 in 82 games. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I watched any of them because I didn't, but based on stats and what other people have said, I'm going to go his top. The only downside is he made a €1 million loss when he left the club, but I still think he's in top. In 14th is Luke Freeman from QPR for €5.6 million. When he signed in the summer of 2019 before the Premier League, I was quite excited. I quite liked him as a player at QPR, but he just never quite worked out at the Blades, so he's going in flop. It's one of them I don't think it was quite good enough to make that step up to the Premier League from the Championship. Quite a hard step up, and of course the rest of the team was thriving as well, so it was quite hard to get a place. He spent the majority of his played career out on loan at multiple clubs before leaving on a free in 2022. So for me, that has every mark of a flop. In 13th is Austin Trusty from Arsenal for €5.8 million. Once again, he was just one of them players who didn't quite make the step up from the Championship to the Premier League. I was a big fan of him at Birmingham, who was very solid, but it was a different story in the Premier League. Of course, 2023-24 was a shocking season for everyone involved, but he didn't make a good account of himself. And that was the only season he spent at the club before joining Celtic. The only upside, I suppose, made a couple of €1 million profit on him when he went to Celtic, so he can't complain. In 12th is arguably the biggest flop on this list, Ollie Burke, who joined for €6.5 million from West Brom. And when I say this guy was shit, he was not just shit, he was honking shit. I don't think I've ever seen a player more one-dimensional than him. He could run, but nothing else. And yet somehow in the 2021 season, he scored a winner away at Man U at Old Trafford. Yeah, life just doesn't make sense sometimes, does it? He went on a free transfer to Werder Bremen a couple of years later, so definitely not a good transfer at all. In 11th, we've got another current player, Japhet Tanganga, who joined the Blades from Millwall for €7 million. Since joining from Millwall in the summer just gone, he's been solid at the back. He's been ever-present, played every single minute available. Obviously, it's hard to judge a current player when they've only been there 6 months, but so far he's been top. In 10th is Callum Robinson, who joined the Blades from Preston for €7.8 million. He was one of the players signed in 2019 to bolster the squad ahead of the Premier League season of 2019-20, but unfortunately it just didn't work out for Robinson. He didn't get too many minutes in a Blades shirt. Whether it's the system we played, the formation, the position he played, I'm not quite sure. But unfortunately for him, it just didn't work out. He went on loan to West Brom in the January transfer window, then the summer he went permanently after he got promoted. He's done well in his career since. There's nothing personal against the guy, it just didn't work out. But unfortunately, I have to put him in the flop category. In 9th is Lys Mousset, who joined the Blades from Bournemouth for €11.1 million in the summer of 2019. This was such a hard one to pick because if you look at the stats alone, you'd think he's a flop. But I think just for the moments he gave us in 2019-20, helping us stay up, I think I'm going to put him top. If there was a middle category, he would 100% be in there, but I think he's got to go top for them reasons. In 2019-20, he scored 6 goals and got 4 assists, which isn't a bad return in the Premier League. But the rest of the time he was at the Blades, he was quite injury prone, so some would put him in a flop. But there's some brilliant moments in 2019-2020, so he's got to go in top. In 8th, it's Tom Cannon from Leicester for €11.85 million in the January transfer window last year. Obviously, he's a current player, recently he's picked up form, but overall, on his time at the Blades, I've got to go flop. Because that second half of the 24-25 season where he only scored 1 goal was just not good enough at all. Don't get me wrong, I think we could have played to his strengths better last season, but he wasn't impressive. This season he has picked up a bit, getting a few goals, but it's not enough in a few month period. Maybe in a year's time he could be considered as top if he carries his form, but for now it's a flop. In 7th is Vinny Souza, who joined the Blades from Lovell for €12.5 million. It was a tale of 2 seasons for him as he struggled in the Premier League but thrived in the Championship. In 2023-24 he absolutely struggled in the Premier League, wasn't that good. But in the Championship last season he absolutely thrived. He was one of our most important players, and I think his style of play definitely suited the Championship more than the Premier League. He was absolutely solid. With that in mind, it was definitely hard to pick between top and flop, but I've gone top because we made a profit on him. We made €2.5 million profit as he signed for Wolfsburg for €15 million in the summer just gone. It was definitely a favourite in our fan base and definitely missed. In 6th is Gusto Mahama, who joined from Coventry for €17.3 million. This is quite an easy decision to make. He's going in top category for sure. Although he struggled for form this season, the last 2 seasons shouldn't be discounted at all. He's been absolutely fantastic. In the Premier League when he joined, he was probably the best of a bad bunch. He was probably our best player. And then in the Championship last season, he absolutely thrived, getting the Championship Player of the Season award. And some of the stuff he was doing on that pitch was just so outrageous. He was such a brilliant player. And I've got to say, his goal catalogue with the Blades is just out of this world. Overall, he 100% deserves to be in this top category no matter what. In 5th is Ollie McBurney, who joined the Blades from Swansea for €19.1 million. This was such a hard one to pick really because he was so good for us at times, but I think overall he was a flop. For just under €20 million, you'd expect more goals, and he did go on some barren runs sometimes where he just didn't score. Of course, he had a couple of decent seasons at the Blades, but overall it probably wasn't the best of times. And I think another reason why he's in flop is we lost him on a free, so he didn't make any money at all. It feels like a harsh one, but it probably is the right decision. In 4th is Aaron Ramsdale, who is signed from Bournemouth for €20.5 million. This was another tough one to pick because he was quite bad for us. He was alright in the second half of the Premier League season, but he made us a lot of money. But ultimately, I've gone for flop. He's probably relegated from the Premier League that season. He was so poor. And although we made €7.5 million profit on him, it just wasn't enough, to be honest. Thinking about it like this, if we'd have stayed in the Premier League, we probably would have made more money than €7.5 million. And to be honest, to this day, I still don't know why Arsenal paid €28 million for him. In 3rd is Cameron Archer from Aston Villa for €21.5 million. euros. Straight off the bat, I'm going to go poor here. He had his moments in the Premier League, but nothing more. And of course, because of the way the deal was structured, if we got relegated from the Premier League, we'd lose money. Because we'd agreed a buyback with Aston Villa, if we got relegated, they'd buy him back for a lower fee. According to Transfer Market, that fee is 16.65 million, so we lost about 5 or 6 million on him. So there's no way really I could have put him in that top category. It was just quite poor for us in general. Like I mentioned, he definitely had his glimpses like Everton at home and Wolves at home. He was just brilliant in them games. But in the majority of games, he just went missing and wasn't good enough. In second is Sander Berge from Genk for 25 million euros. He's winning top. I think a lot of Blades fans have mixed opinions about this guy, so we lost a lot of money on him when he went to Burnley. Overall, I think he could have been better, but I think he was definitely a solid player for us at the level. He was an alright player in the Premier League, but the Championship is really where he thrived. In the Championship, under Heckingbottom, he played a more advanced position, and he got plenty of goals and assists to his name in the 22-23 season when we got promoted. And like I mentioned, I think we could have definitely seen more from him, but overall, I think he's a top transfer. And in at number 1, our record transfer is Ryan Brewster from Liverpool for 26 million euros. Don't get me wrong, he was definitely a fan's favourite, but I think I've got to go flop because he was injured so much. Throughout his time at the Blades, he did definitely struggle with injury quite a lot, and I do feel sorry for him really, because every time he had that chance to kick on, he'd always get injured. It was so frustrating to watch because you could definitely see there was a player in there who just didn't get the chance to show it off much because of injuries. Last season was definitely his best season at the club before leaving on a free. He scored quite a few goals, including the winner at Hillsborough in the derby, and although you could argue he paid off his transfer fee in that moment, I don't think it was enough. Overall, it just didn't work out for him at Sheffield United. We wish him all the best for the future. And there we go guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments which ones you agree and disagree with, and as always, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.